So, welcome to Beyond Luck, the podcast where we have conversations with people that turn vision into reality. Today I'm joined by William Goodge, an endurance athlete, model, and overall inspiration to many people, and especially to myself. So I'm very, very happy to be here with you today in a beautiful place in Ischia. Who would have thought? And you've turned running and endurance into a form of expression. You've you explore resilience and how that is a coping mechanism also to grief and a way of life. And I think, as I said before, you've inspired so many people, including myself. So it's a privilege to be here with you today.
Thank you for having me. It's good to be here too.
How did we connect?
We connected through Mambo because I was at St. Ambrose.
But even before you were at St. Ambrose, I saw you on Mambo's story. So Mambo's a good friend of ours, and I saw Mambo runs. He's a runner.
Yeah.
We started running together a bit during COVID, and I saw that he was on a run with you in New York, and he posted you on a story. So I replied to his story. I said, "No way, you're with Will. He's so cool. Like, insane that you're with him." And he said, "Yeah, he's actually a very down-to-earth guy, very cool guy." I said, "Well, it'd be great to meet him one day." And then you ended up at St. Ambrose a couple hours later.
Yeah.
And then we connected from there.
It's happened pretty fast, but it's good.
Yeah. I mean, what was it, like a month ago? Not even.
Yeah, probably. Because I only got back from New York like 10 days ago.
What were you doing in New York?
I was just there for 2 months because I travel around a lot. Obviously, off the back of the event I did, finishing like early summer this year, I'm having a period of taking time off. Because you need that when you put your body through such extreme things. And especially, it's just like all systems are down. So you can't expect to be able to push and get back. People are like, "Oh, why are you not running the New York Marathon?" I'm like, well, I'm not going to PB. And it's going to also distract myself from actually trying to get back to even like a foundational level of being able to build again. Because otherwise you just never get to that actual recovery point.
Because you only run marathons you only do races to PB? Or?
Well, there's a thing. Well, no, not necessarily, because New York's quite a tough one. I've done it before, but also been in my line of work. One thing that's great about it, but kind of a double-edged sword, is I could get into any race that I wanted to, which doesn't sit right with me because majors now are so difficult to get into. I think every time you see the stats of like getting into London, it's like you've got a 4% chance and it gets lower and lower. I don't know if that's factual, but it's a really hard thing to get into. And the fact that just because I run and I'm on social media and I can just ask someone or I'll get offered a ticket to participate, I'm not pushing for anything. I wouldn't be raising money for charity. Like there was no end game other than just to go and do it. So that for me in this, I hate the word, but rumfluencer space, it's like I don't like the fact that people like me can just waltz into any race. And there's like levels to it. It's like,
yeah, but you're deserving of it. There's also that.
Yeah, maybe, but I've done it before. And I'd think if I'm taking someone else's potential space that would really love to do it, I've already done it. So
one of the other 57,000 people that ran the New York.
Yeah, it was a record this year, wasn't it?
Incredible
participation.
Incredible. I also, from my experience, I ran the New York Marathon in 2019.
Yeah.
I was 18 at the time, so I was young. But that experience is phenomenal. Have you done it?
I have done it, yeah.
There's not a second of silence. Maybe once when you're crossing over the bridge. But other than that, there's just a constant support of people.
Yeah, the energy's unmatched.
It's
London's really good as well. And the reason I love London outside of kind of being from there is that it's so against what's ingrained within London as of like not being enthusiastic about anything.
Like Ray climbing.
Like you don't walk around, people don't say like hello to one another. Heads are down. So the fact for one day of the year everyone comes out and is enthusiastic and like clapping is definitely against what's in our nature.
What London represents.
Yeah, exactly.
It's funny you say that because the Milan Marathon, which I did in April, there's still that energy, but only towards the end of people supporting you. More so, the energy is, damn it, they're blocking the streets.
Yeah,
I mean, the street ain't closed. I'm like, well, guys, it's one day a year.
It's just so inconvenient.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I feel it.
But you mentioned before you're taking a break from an incredible feat that you just accomplished.
Yeah, it was a pretty big one.
It's a pretty big one. Do you want to just explain what that was?
Brief,
and then we can get into it after.
Yeah, I got the record for running across Australia. So from Perth to Sydney. It was a pretty long journey. It was, I think what was it in kilometers? 3,800 kilometers. I did it in 34 days, which we'll get onto as why it's 34 days, not 35. But it's, it was, for me, it was a great one because we're talking about like participation. Like it's so difficult in running to ever win anything. Like we're not Eliud Kipchoge. We haven't been training since we were kids. So to win anything or be the best at anything in running is very difficult thing to do. In any professional sport, it is, but sometimes you're part of a team, you have like different leagues, etc. So you can win things or win games. Whereas in running, it's just generally you've started and you've finished, and it might be good, you might get a PR, but yeah, to be the best at anything within running, very difficult. So in terms of my journey, it felt like it felt time to push for something like that, and obviously it went to plan. And for me, like the measure of success is also how much effort it takes. So that can be for anyone doing anything. That's why I respect anyone going on their first 10K or their first marathon, whatever, because it's all subjective to the level you're at. So I know, because I remember running my first marathon and how fucked I was afterward for 3 days, barely walking upstairs. And
had you trained a lot for your first marathon, or was it a complete shot in the dark?
No, there was no official training. And to be honest, throughout my career, there hasn't been many moments where I've locked into an actual training plan. It's just I gradually built up. I've been doing it for what, 7, 8 years now. So a lot of it, especially in ultra running, comes from that foundational base. That's why traditionally, when I first got into it, it was like 45-year-olds, like mid-40s, even 50-year-olds that were winning these races.
Yeah.
Because you have to have a base of having ran thousands of kilometers or miles. And also, I think there's a disassociation to pain and suffering the older you get, because you go through more bullshit in life. And there's lessons to learn from that. When you're young, you've got an ego. When stuff gets tough, it's easy to throw in the towel. So it's a combination of those two things. Having ran a lot throughout your life,
yeah,
and been through tough times.
And the mental calluses.
Exactly.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I mean, I think that there's definitely a correlation between age and endurance. You know, it's those mental calluses that you develop over the years. I think 40, 50-year-olds have an advantage. Obviously, physically, when you're in your 20s, you can't compare yourself to a 50-year-old, but mentally, it's that, you know, that extra BS that you said people go through, and that, you know, creates a solid base. I totally agree.
Yeah.
But we haven't touched on where we are yet.
Oh yeah.
We're in Ischia.
We're in Ischia.
It's the 18th of November, and we're in Ischia.
Mm-hmm.
Typically a summer destination.
Correct.
It's quite gloomy outside, but can you tell us why we're in Ischia and this incredible villa?
Yeah, so I'm very fortunate that it's like one of my closest friends' place. It's been passed down through the generations. She's like a sister to me. She lives out in Cape Town now, but her family are very much based in France, Italy, Switzerland. And like I said, they've had this place in the family for a number of generations. I first came here, I think it was 4 or 5 years ago, which was actually when she got engaged to they're both very close friends of mine, Byron. So it's had a special place in my heart. I just feel like the Italian way, especially on like the island life, for me is something very beautiful, and I feel very much at peace here. You've lived in cities, we've chased things in cities. Life is fast paced, we're trying to achieve things. But I really like being able to step back from that and come back to very much simplicity. And obviously this place is very vast and very grand, but there's definitely a feeling of it being slow and peaceful and amazing. The guy that looks after the house, Vincenzo.
What a guy.
Amazing guy.
I mean,
so yeah, this place is very special to me.
I get it. I mean, listen, it's my first time in Ischia. It's not your first time, but when there's an energy on the island, I arrived at 1 a.m.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, last night. And the taxi, it wasn't even a taxi driver. This man from the hotel where I was staying came and picked me up with a Fiat Panda.
Nice.
Loaded, you know, he was the most hospitable, you know, person, welcoming energy. And I get why this place is a disconnect for you. Like, the pace of life, the quality, the value, what people value in, you know, in places like this is it's phenomenal.
Yeah, I have an attachment to like locally run and produced things as well. Everything now is shiny and new, made somewhere where they can mass produce it. But a lot of the food that we'll eat here is grown literally just outside there. Like the wine's great.
Yeah.
Everyone that owns a restaurant or a cafe here, it's either generational or it's family run.
Yeah.
There's no commerciality here. And obviously Capri is what,
Not too far.
5 kilometers that way, and is the opposite to that. I've never actually been, whereas I can go and do those things in life. Like I say, you can go to the really cool city where the parties are and stuff, and I will do that. I believe in the duality of life, but here for me is
It's a place of disconnect for you.
exactly.
It's not a bad place. It's a pretty nice place to
Very good.
disconnect. So I also want to touch on your early life and your influences and what brought you to who you are today as a man. So you're from the UK.
I am
You told me close to Luton.
close to Luton, yeah.
Place of
Quite little Ischia Luton.
quite different. A place that people know mostly for the airport.
Exactly.
So what was your childhood like growing up in that area?
For me, it was perfect. So I grew up in a small town called Ampthill. Like my dad still lives there. A town of 5,000 people.
Smaller than Ischia.
Probably, yeah.
Well, 70,000 people live here.
Oh, really? Yeah, way smaller.
Yeah.
So yeah, just like a small countryside town, old Georgian market town. So it's actually quite pretty. It's unlike Luton. No, thanks to Luton, but
No offense to Luton.
it's not great. But yeah, very small town. Went to all like the local schools. Always played sports growing up. Had a very solid and stable family. Like grandparents were around. Christmases were great. We'd go on 2 holidays a year. We had like a timeshare in Gran Canaria, so that was one of them. And then we'd go to, where was it? We'd go to like northern France to like a caravan park with 2 other really close family friends. So for me, it was a very idyllic childhood. There was always food on the table. Nothing was fancy. We didn't have like a posh car outside. Mum was a nurse. Dad was a carpenter. So pretty normal, but when I look back at it, I have like a big shining light about it because, like I say, everything there was provided for me. Everything was great, but also I learned the value of like hard work and earning your keep or whatever. I wasn't given big amounts of pocket money or anything. So,
Were you able to be naive as a kid? Would you say?
yeah, for sure. Yeah, I had no idea about the outside world other than what was coming on the news. And obviously, I'm 31 now, so we didn't have social media or whatever. We walked, but yeah, in terms of growing up, everything was great.
I mean, that's a win in itself to have a childhood where you're able to be naive.
Yeah.
I think that's already a win in 99% of the world's
Sure.
books. So were you an energetic kid? Were you always a kid that was attracted to sports and
Yeah, I wasn't very good at sitting still. Like I'd be watching the TV like upside down. I had very high energy. Growing up, I'd play all kinds of sports, but generally it was football and rugby because you could play those on a Saturday and Sunday. At school, I'd play basketball, cricket, anything I could do that was in a sporting light, I was interested in. But ironically, I hated running.
Most kids do.
Running sucks.
It's always seemed like a punishment when you're a kid.
Mhm.
Like if you get, if one of your teammates is late to the court or to the field, okay, laps. Go do laps. Is that how you saw it, like a punishment almost?
Yeah, especially playing rugby as well. And the level I got to, the association with running was punishment if you did something wrong. But also in every other kind of sport, there's a goal or a camaraderie or something bringing you together, and there's little wins here and there. But like we said at the start, like running, there's hardly any of that.
It's you versus you.
There's hardly any of that. We'll obviously get into it, but there's a beauty to that simplicity and not having these or making up your own little goals along the way, even on a run. So
That's the beauty of running. It's the most natural movement and the most natural sport in the world. And I think
forever, and you don't need anything for it.
that's a pair of shoes, not even.
Yeah, not even.
Not even. You can go on a dirt track and run barefoot. Do you see traces of who you are today based on your childhood and what's the most common trace of when your quotidian life? What makes you think of?
I think I still have a childlike expression and like wonder for the world. I've traveled a lot, but I still feel like you can never see all of it, but there's always this excitement and wonder in me to go and explore different places. Whether that was around my town, like going out with my friends on like push bikes and finding random things and making dens in the wood. Like I still have that explorative thing within me. And I would also say just like like a positive outlook on everything. As a kid, I was always like, oh, this is great, seeing the good in people. So I'd say I've definitely kept that too.
You don't have a cynical approach to life.
No, not really. I think everyone's trying their best, and there's some experience in life I've had where I've definitely got deeper into that feeling of other people and why they might do certain things. So yeah,
Strong sense of empathy.
for the most part, yeah. I mean, I have my days where I'm just like, fuck you, fuck everything.
Of course.
But deep down, I'm okay.
Good to know. Good to know. And you said you had a quite idyllic childhood.
Yeah.
What was your relationship with your parents like growing up?
That was really good. Like, really good. Mum was she was definitely the boss.
Really?
Yeah.
She wore the pants in the family?
She wore the pants. Not that she was in any way, you know, super authoritative, but my dad kind of took the backseat on that. If he had to get involved, he didn't really want to. Because we've obviously spoken since. He was just like, yeah, Mum would do all the telling off if she needed to. And we knew if we do something wrong, because it could be as simple as if I got an eyebrow raise, I knew I'd done something wrong.
Back off.
But yeah, they were always around. Any kind of sporting event we had, they'd be at everything we did. Grandparents were around, had Sunday dinners, people would come over.
Sounds
Yeah,
beautiful.
it was perfect. Like I say, there was always food on the table. We had 2 holidays a year. Yeah, it was great.
It doesn't seem like you had a rigid or super disciplined child.
No, there was a lot of freedom given to us and my older brother as well. It was obviously you'd have times where you'd have to come home. But also even studying when we grew up, we were never like pushed into a room and be like, you need to study. You need to make sure you get great grades. When we were growing up, it was almost, what do you want to do? If you really want to do it, we'll support, but we're not gonna hammer down and be like this, you have to study, you have to do this. So yeah, there was so much freedom of choice. Whatever we wanted to do, they were gonna back it.
Yeah.
And yeah.
It's interesting because in a lot of scenarios, you see kids that grew up in a very rigid and disciplined household tend to stray away from that and live a completely, opposite way of life and lead a completely different opposite way of life. And then on the contrary, when you grow up in a household where it's more free and it's more supportive, you tend to also be able to structure, a more disciplined way of life on your own.
Yeah.
So there's not that form of rebellion.
Yeah.
So it's interesting because now you run and you have this, and you lead when you have to, a very disciplined life. Obviously, one of the things that I most admire about you, and I think other than the cosmetic, I use the word cosmetic, but it's not superficial whatsoever what you do. You're incredibly skilled at balancing. And that's something that social media today kind of instills into our generation. I'm slightly younger than you. I'm 24, but it's this way of life of everyday, discipline, everyday routine. You have to, conquer every single day, otherwise you will not make it. And I think that's kind of No,
I see it, and I also feel like we're at a point where that's being somewhat dissolved. Because there was this time, and I really didn't like seeing it all the time, whereas it's just like normal people in normal lives, and you're getting someone preaching to you, you need to wake up at 4 a.m, you need to journal, you then need to stretch.
Yeah.
You need to be doing some kind of mantra, then breathing exercises, then go and work out, and then actually go and do a 9 to 5, and then also have your side hustle. Like the amount of things that was getting promoted to people of how to achieve anything was unachievable. And I also think if you're going to be great at anything, firstly, you have to love doing it. You don't need this super rigid structure. Sometimes you do, and sometimes you need to fall into that, and sometimes I do. But I think life is there to be lived and enjoyed. And if you try and put blockers up at every single spot to make that extra 0.1%, it's not going to, it can lead to improving and getting better. But part of the journey is like actually enjoying those stages. And then if you actually have the enthusiasm to do it, it's a lot easier and a lot better. So I really like that. I feel like we're at that tipping point. Like I've been putting this article about being a wellness anarchist. It's alongside like Carlos Alcaraz. And it's like he wins the French Open and he goes to Ibiza and parties. And it's like, He's like, look, I'm 22 years old. I'm not going to get this opportunity again.
Exactly.
I'm also the best in the world. So just,
I think it's almost necessary, isn't it?
yeah, and a lot of these things that people are promoting is unattainable and also probably not true because they think it's the right way to promote things when really they might have had a beer before they've done that, or they might smoke cigarettes or whatever, but they feel it's necessary to be in this wellness sector that everything has to be absolutely nailed on every step of the way. That's not how human beings work.
100%. So your stance on balance in life is
basically be unbalanced.
The unbalanced.
Well, for me, there's certain times where you should lock in, and there's also certain times where you should unlock and be free. But the main thing for me in doing that is you have to make a conscious choice when you do. Because I've had times like after some of the first big events I did, where afterwards I felt like depressed and I didn't know why. I was like, this is very strange. Or I'd beat myself up because I drank too much one night. But from learning and obviously doing it multiple times, after I do these big events, I will give myself a period of time of, I need to recover, but also just like let some steam off.
Yeah.
And because I've given myself grace for that period, if I go and drink or do it for a few days or whatever else, I then don't have that self-deprivational part where you have all this regret and remorse for what you did because I've allowed myself space to be okay. So we can't be at 100% all the time. We can't be push in every aspect of our lives. So
I think that's I'm sorry, I want to stick to this point because I find it so relevant to the world we live in today, and especially the younger generation, social media, and of course you're super present on social media, but it's Eliud Kipchoge has his quote. He was speaking at Oxford, if I'm not mistaken, the GOAT. He said, discipline is freedom. It's if you're not disciplined, you're a slave to your passions, you're a slave to your moods, and it's true. But at the same time, it's social media is creating this game of comparison, and comparison is the thief of joy, right? So I think one of the assets that you have is the fact that you can drink, you can have fun, and then you can lock in.
Yeah,
you're able to let loose, but then you have the discipline to say, okay, now it's time to lock back in. And I think that's something that the younger generation needs to understand. You need to build that discipline to be able to do both.
Yeah, and also just following what you love.
Yeah.
Like if you are incredibly dedicated and there's one thing you want to do and you love doing it, don't listen to what I'm saying because that's exactly what you want to do. But for me, I understand how finite life is and it can be taken from us at any point.
Of course.
So there's a part of me that is trying to, and maybe too much sometimes, trying to enjoy all aspects of life. And maybe that takes away from my main thing, which is running. Like I could be better at it. I'm never, I could be better at it. I've never, like I say, we're talking about having these other freedoms. Like what could I achieve if I locked in for 3 years? Like I don't know. But I'm also not willing to give away going to places like this, enjoying or doing the other aspects of my life.
We're all different. And there's people that, that opportunity cost is not important to them. They're locked in 24/7, 365.
Yeah.
But then there's other people that have, value other parts of life, and it's even more impressive that, given what you've achieved, that you're able to respect that balance. So,
and I think just the social media aspect, just to kind of finish this off, is people feel pressured to be perfect all the time or be doing these great otherworldly things all the time because that's what they're seeing a lot of the time. And I just try and show from my perspective that yes, I'll lock in at certain points and do these crazy things, but it's not all encompassing. I'm trying to show you that there's freedom and enjoyment to be had along the way rather than just being enslaved to one task or one thing. But then as I say, I also have massive respect for people that are so focused on one goal or on it. I'm just trying to be the other side of the coin.
So do you think if you did lock in, you could achieve more? Is that
for sure. Like I could be there across the board. Yeah. Which is almost what I'm going to be doing from next year. There is a 9-10 month period of seeing what's achievable. But again, that's just 9 or 10 months, right?
And then you have a couple more months to really,
Yeah, I gave myself the rest of the year off after I ran across the US, which we'll get into, it took me 9 months to feel like I had any kind of like gumption to push again.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy how flat you become.
Oh, we'll get into that, but I didn't know that you took 9 months to mentally to recoup.
Yeah, because I tried to do some races in between, and
But it
just
wasn't shit. Wow. So going back into your early sports career, you played rugby at a semi-professional level.
Exactly.
Obviously, rugby is a huge sport in the UK.
Yeah. It's pretty big in Italy too.
Yeah, it's pretty big in Italy. But what led you to rugby, and then what led you to stop playing rugby?
Rugby for me was something I was okay. Well, actually, to be fair, growing up, I sucked at it.
Really?
There was one point, I think I was 11 or 12. I'd always be like in the B team or on the bench. I wasn't very good at any of it. I wasn't particularly very well skilled. I was also quite thin and tall, so I didn't have any physical prowess. And my dad said to me one summer in pre-season, he was like, "Do you want to just go like fishing instead?" Which I really respect from his point of view, because he saw his son like struggling and not being that good.
Yeah.
I mean, he was trying to give me an option for an exit, which I didn't take. But like growing up, it was all my friends played rugby. I still enjoyed doing it, even though I wasn't very good. But there was a point at maybe 15 when I started going to the gym and working out. And then I kind of started to understand that I could control the controllables. So whilst working on my skill set, yes, is something I need to do, I could build myself up to be the right shape, the right size. And that also lent to like my first, I would say, inkling into like mental power, mental structure, and being able to change your mindset to be good at something. Because like I said, I wasn't good growing up, but then I could go to the gym, I could work out, I could do powerful exercises, I could get faster.
It was in your hands.
It was in my hands. Whereas before, it's just like when you're a kid, you're playing. Everything's play and it's beautiful, and you're just doing things because it feels right. But then it came to a point of getting to an adult, and it was like, okay, I could get better at this. Do I want to get better at it? Yes, I do. If I do these particular things. And yeah, over those like 3-4 years, getting to 19, I think at 19 I was nearly 100 kilos.
What do you know?
I am 83. Yeah, my neck was wider than my head at that stage. But that's when I started getting good, and it was like a positive reinforcement loop. It was like I got bigger. I started being a player in the team that they needed. So I played inside center when I was 12. It was like, okay, I might not be the most skillful player, but how can I bring value to this team? And it was basically about being tenacious, running as hard as I could, as straight as I could, taking the fly half out if I could. And most of the time when my team was scoring, I would just have got up from the middle of a ruck, having ran into someone. I'd look up, have someone in their corner, and I'd be like, perfect. It also led to my downfall as well.
Why is that?
Because I was super aggressive when I was playing. Everything was about impact.
Okay, my next question was going to be, how aggressive were you? Did you have that aggression inside of you, or?
Yeah, and I think it was turned on for the sport itself. And I guess it's still kind of within me now. There is an aggressive side to me. The duality of a man. I love that.
Of course.
I think everyone's got everything inside them. It's just about plucking out what things are relevant at the right time, and also not being overridden and controlled by those emotions. But yeah, it was a good lesson into like being a round hole and a round plug. What phrases? So yeah, I just kept getting concussed basically.
And that led to your downfall.
Yeah, I'd try and tackle as hard as I could, try and run as hard as I could.
Concussion after concussion after concussion.
Yeah, it wasn't good. And being young and your brain's still developing at that stage. The first time I got knocked out, I was 16.
But knocked out on the field.
Yeah, I was knocked out, and then obviously got up and tried to carry on playing. And I was wobbling around.
So what age did you start playing rugby?
I stopped playing when I was 23.
Okay.
Yeah. History of concussions, and also just having them. You have these like weeks afterwards where you're like cloudy and
you're not
can't remember things, and it's quite concerning. I also remember watching the film of Will Smith, Concussion, on a flight to the US actually, and just being like, "This is the end of my life. Am I going to be in a Chevrolet under a bridge sniffing glue, about to end my life?"
This is the sign.
But yeah, obviously, the more like science has come along, there's a lot of history with people getting mental disorders and things that really aren't good. And the more professionals coming out now that are getting these issues, it is concerning. So I feel like I got out at the right time.
Even in American football, you see
Crazy.
the career span is so much shorter than other sports.
Yeah.
And it's so impactful.
I love it.
Of course,
I love it.
I love watching it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, anytime, you know, rugby, American football, it's fascinating to watch these sports. It's fascinating. Also the tenacity and the duality, because you see these, sometimes you watch these mic'd up videos of the players and you hear their intensity and you see the intensity, and then they get off the field and they're this, you know, chilled, relaxed man that you would have never expected.
Yeah, sometimes you got to switch it on.
Yeah.
And I also just love the respect of like going to war or going to battle in those moments. You see it in UFC and boxing as well, and like afterwards it's nothing but respect. But beforehand it's like
So you and I,
it's you versus me, or us versus you. Yeah. Let's go.
that's incredible. And you're also a model.
Yeah, I put modeling. I mean, I did it, and I sometimes
You don't seem proud. You don't seem proud of the title.
I tell you what, when I do it now, it gives me more of a good feeling because it's generally about myself and my story. Whereas it's growing up, it's all a bit fake. Like you're 6'2", you've got dark hair, you look a certain way, so there's not much depth to it.
Mm-hmm.
It's all very, very physical and
Cosmetic,
exactly like you said. But it served me at a time, and it introduced me to some incredible people. And so it was a part of my life. It was cool.
Were you doing that while you're playing rugby, or was it post rugby?
Yeah, it was both at the same time. So that was interesting. And because I was semi-professional as well, like I had to have other jobs, and it wasn't like I was booked out for modeling.
Yeah.
If I was to go 2 months without a job, so I'd also be doing some kind of laboursome work, be that like landscape gardening.
Really?
Or I had a friend who was property developing, so like smashing out houses, clearing them.
Come on.
Worked on building sites because my old man was a carpenter.
Of course.
Yeah, there was some periods in my life, especially like late teens, early 20s, where my week could look pretty diverse.
Modeling, construction,
rugby,
semi-pro rugby.
Yeah.
I mean,
and that also,
what a mix.
One of my brother's closest friends also had like the marketing contract for Rolls-Royce. So sometimes I'd be a driver. So driving around very high-end luxury cars.
Wow.
Which also, I don't know how they gave that to me at like 22 years old.
But you probably looked the part.
I enjoyed it.
I'm sure you did.
So yeah, I was doing, but then I've always done a lot of different things, and that's why what I see value in is hard work. So it's like the whole thing of rugby, like I had to work hard to get good at that because I wasn't good at it at the start. The value of earning £1 doing a hard laboursome job. Running, ironically, is a lot of just hard work where you don't get a lot back. But the outcome of it, if you do it enough, can be beautiful. So
if you mix it in well,
exactly,
into other facets of the world like you did.
Yeah.
In a very, I may use the word lucrative, but you were able to monetize also this incredible career that you've built, right?
Yeah. And the thing is, it's all made up and everything's new. But when I started out running, I needed to do it. Like I didn't feel like it was an action that I thought, okay, I'm gonna go for a run. It was just like it was coming out of me, and I needed to do it because of what I was going through. And I was doing it before it was cool, before social media was kicking off about it. So,
what years was this? 2000.
My first marathon, I was 24. So that's 7 years ago. 7 years ago is 2018. Yeah, it was December 2018, I think.
What was your time in your first marathon?
I think it was a 3:58.
You beat me by 7 minutes. Tap. You were in the first marathon.
Yeah, it was just a made up one around town I grew up.
Oh, you did it yourself. You didn't.
Yeah,
incredible.
Totally made up.
So you stopped playing rugby at 23.
Yeah.
Something pretty important happened in your life at 23.
Yeah.
Yeah. Something pretty significant and meaningful, and it's something that I think I would like to delve into.
Mm-hmm.
You lost your mother.
Yeah.
To cancer.
Correct.
And would you say that is running became a coping mechanism for that?
For sure. Yeah, it was a catalyst to everything that's happened since. So like I said, at the time, running for me was a punishment. I was still playing rugby, so I hated it. I didn't see the point in it. Like in off season, I would not go for a 5K. I think I tried to run once, and I was like, "What's the point in this?" Physical game, camaraderie, team, sportsmanship.
Aerobic, anaerobic.
Yeah, there's something to do. There's something to chase.
Yeah.
Running is you start off, it gets hard, it gets progressively harder. You finish, and it's just like whatever, it's over. So that's the feeling I had about running in my head at that time. However, I think there was a key point before my mum passed away, which was the beginning of 2018, which was in the summer of 2017. I'd gone out to LA. I'd been there earlier in summer, and I'd met this girl, so I was excited to go back. She ended up becoming my girlfriend since ex, but that's just the pain in the story. I was excited. I'm from a small town. I'm going to fucking Hollywood.
Yeah.
I'm meeting this girl that I really like. Like, life's exciting, life's great. And we were staying in Santa Monica at this hotel called the Fairmont. Arrived in the evening, and obviously the UK, I think, is about like 8 hours behind at this stage. So I think I woke up at 3 a.m. And I was like, twiddling my thumbs. I was like, what can I do? What can I do? Like, she's asleep. So I'm going to have to wait until she wakes up because
I'm not gonna wake her up.
yeah, and also I don't want to be like bashing around.
Yeah, of course.
Boys. So I was like, well, maybe I'll go for a run. Like, the beach is just there. If I'm ever going to potentially enjoy a run, this might be the time. So I went down to the front. I actually left my shoes at the front desk, which I don't know why I did that, but I did. Because I thought I was going to be running on sand.
Okay.
Anyway, I go down to the beach, and it's changed a little bit now, but they used to just have like boardwalks, so it's slatted wood. They've changed to like concrete or something now. But I just started running. I was like, running towards Malibu. I was like, I'll just run until like the sun comes up, and then I'll turn around. So I'm running along. Like, this isn't too bad. The sun comes up or starts to rise. I'm like, this is pretty good. And I just kept going. And then it gets to the end of the boardwalk, which you can't get around to Malibu because it becomes the road is a freeway, so you can't do that. So I turned around, started running back because that was the only way to get back. I started feeling like really good. I was like, this is strange. So
You got to.
maybe it's like I'm excited. I'm in the US.
Was that your first long run?
It was, yeah. I think I looked back and it's around 12K,
Okay.
but my first long run for sure. And then on the way back, like, I start seeing other runners.
No watch.
No watch, no nothing. Like, nothing was being recorded. I didn't know.
How free?
I didn't know what Strava was at that time.
How freeing is that?
So good.
Right?
Yeah, it was really good. I was just running to run. And then on the way back, like, my competitive side, there were people around me, so I'd
Try to
run
get
past
past
them.
them.
Remember, there's this hill to like get back up to where the road is, and I just powered as hard as I could. Again, I had no shoes on. And I had like these crazy blood blisters when I got back, but I was on this like crazy high, runner's high.
Of course.
First long run.
Especially on the first run, right? I mean,
It was incredible. I just got back, I was absolutely buzzing. Again, I thought it was because I was seeing this girl, and that obviously added to it. Got back to the room. She had to go to work. So I'm down by the pool having breakfast. I think I had like a cocktail or something.
at
Absolute
8
gas,
a.m.
yeah. Mimosa, let's go. And then my mum called me, and she'd just been seeing her doctor at the time. And she told me that she was in remission. So if I had to pinpoint the happiest moment of my life, it's that moment there in Santa Monica in California. Because I had all these things happening. She'd got diagnosed with cancer, and she didn't tell us the first time because we were too young. And then it obviously came back when I was in my early 20s. But I always had this feeling, I was like, she's going to beat it. I was never in doubt. Just like, yeah, she's going to be good. She also carried and handled it so gracefully the whole time. Like, you'd never be able to tell.
That's. I have a couple points that I want to, discuss on what you just said. But number one, that's mothers. That's what moms do.
Things about you guys.
Yeah, it's not about me.
Yeah, there's no real self.
That's how.
Well, there is, but
Of course, but that is
selfless.
That's how moms are, and it's incredible. So, but at the same time, she did tell you when you're 21, early 20s, that she was diagnosed with cancer. It still must have been a burden, and even if it was subconscious, it was still something that was in your system, wasn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
in your mental.
Yeah, of course. But I just had this like bravado about it. I was so confident that she was going to win.
Yeah.
I had zero doubt. I was like, yep, she's got this. I've seen her through life.
She got
knock everything to the side, whatever. So yeah, I was just like, she's got this. And obviously getting that news, it was confirmation of that.
what a day.
It was the best day ever. Yeah.
Girl, LA,
Yeah.
cocktail, run,
Yeah.
remission.
Yeah.
I mean, does it get much better than that?
No, it doesn't. So yeah, I was on another planet happy at that point. Like I say, it's the happiest moment of my life. And it might, I don't know if that'll change in the future if I have kids or whatever, but for now that's it. And then it was only a few months later that he came back. And then it was 9 months after I got that news that she passed away on January 15th, 2018. So that was also a period when I'd got knocked out in the December. That was my last game. We played Cambridge at home. Classic, got knocked out, having got knocked out maybe a month before as well. So I was taking time off, and then because she was so attached to me, to my rugby career, anywhere we'd play, up north, down south, when we went abroad sometimes, she'd always be there with my dad as well. So
She would follow and support.
yeah, so I didn't go back initially, and the club gave me the rest of the year off, which was very nice of them. I think I went back to training once, and I was just like, I think I'm done. And that feeling, when she passed away quite soon afterwards, I just found myself running. I really didn't know why. It's like, this is very strange, but obviously it was at a period where everything was thrown out the window in terms of understanding. Obviously I was very sad and very upset. I was angry. Like, she was the healthy one in the family, hardly drank, ate well, always out in the garden. She didn't do any like fitness stuff, but she was slender, she was healthy. So if anyone was going to be taken by that horrible disease, she'd be the last one. So yeah, it builds up a lot of frustration at the world.
Anger, frustration.
God.
Why me?
Yeah. Why me? Why her?
Yeah.
So I just found it could be 3 o'clock in the morning and I'd be upset and I'd just go out for a run. I used to do the same loop over and over again.
That was your therapy.
That was my therapy. I wasn't good at speaking about it. Like, one of the proudest moments of my life was the speech I gave at her funeral, because I delivered it well for her out of respect.
You were 24 at this point?
Yeah, 24. Exactly. So maybe I was 23 turning 24.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's an interesting time as a young man, because you're an adult, right? But you haven't mentally developed. Like, I even still think now I'm a bit of a kid. We've got through some more stuff and figured bits out, but yeah, 23 is at any age is a terrible time to lose a parent, but 23, yeah, people just assume that you can make your own decisions, right? You have freedom. I could go and do what I wanted. No one was going to tell me otherwise. And yeah, it was a testing time, but it's made me the man I am today, and sure should be proud.
You know, I don't know if right away you chose to, you had two paths. One was to be a victim of life, and the other was to say, no, screw that. Even for her, I'm going to choose a different path. I'm going to make the best of life. I'm going to do what I assume she wanted for you because she loved you, and I'm going to make the most of it. How tough, when you were here, was it to choose the path of not being a victim? How long did it take you? I mean,
it wasn't tough at all, actually.
Really?
I could see it. It was very clear to me. Like I say, you can make your own decisions. You can come and go as you want. You can throw your life away. It's probably the clearest crossroads I've ever had in life, and almost the easiest big decision I've ever made. You have the freedom. You can do drugs, alcohol. You can do whatever you want. You have this little white flag you can wave.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to be like, "Oh, you've just lost your mum. Like, it's okay." You almost get a free pass. But seeing her battle the way she did, and obviously knowing her my entire life, there was no way I could use her as an excuse. Like, it was an option. There was a clear line in the sand. No way. So I didn't know what I was going to do at the beginning, but I knew I had to make it mean more than a sad story. And running for me was just something that helped. It was my version of therapy. Like, I never went to see anyone about it. I could speak semi-openly to friends, but in those moments where you don't know what to do, you're controlled and overcome by emotion, I just found myself going towards running it, and I'd always feel a little bit better when I came back. I'd be running down the road, I might start sprinting and crying, shouting out at the world, but I would fix some of those immediate issues I had in those moments. I'd come back and I'd be able to be somewhat at peace again. So I just gradually started building up on that. It's just something I kept leaning towards. And the Christmas after she passed, when you lose someone, like I said, I had this such beautiful like white picket fence start in life. Like my dad's parents passed away, but it was like in the right timeline. Anything you've seen in a movie is like your grandparents pass away. It's sad, but they were 80, 90, whatever. It's the natural cycle of life of how things are supposed to go. That was what my entire life was up until 23. It was going almost like going to plan. So this totally shook off everything. So yeah, Christmas Day, I was like, this is gonna suck. How am I gonna get out of it without raising any concerns with friends and family? Because Christmas was her. She got the tree. I'd help her decorate it, actually. She'd cook, she'd wrap the presents. Like she was Christmas encompassed. So I wasn't looking forward to it. I was like, how can I get out of it, basically? So I had been running quite a lot, and I decided I'd run my first marathon. So
on Christmas Day.
On Christmas Day. So it's like, this is going to be perfect because I'm going to be out for 4 or 5 hours, whatever it's going to take. And then I'm going to be so physically destroyed afterwards. I can't even think about any kind of mental turmoil I'm going through. So I just made up the route around the town we grew up in and places that made sense to us as a family. I had like people come out and run with me, like very close friends. My dad followed me in his truck the whole way. Had people at the end. We met at a local pub where we'd always go before like the Christmas lunch was served. So I had, I don't know, 40 people there of like close friends and family. And I decided to raise money for Macmillan Cancer Support.
For this marathon?
For this marathon, yeah. I think we raised close to £20,000.
Wow.
So for me, it was like a light bulb moment. I wanted to destroy myself physically.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was seeking, right? I was trying to destroy myself physically so I didn't have to think about yes. And then I had all the most important people in my life supporting me through it. So it was like bringing people together. My mum seemed to be like the center of our world socially and family-wise. Like she'd invite people over, or she'd be the link to certain people. So that void had almost been filled again by me doing this thing. And I'd raised money for a charity that she'd worked with before. She had a little vintage tea room. It was really cute, but she'd do like coffee mornings and raise money for them. They helped her during her care. And obviously I'd met the nurses and everything else through her care too. So I had then somehow raised this money that would help people like my mum, myself, and these people that I'd seen and experienced in such a beautiful and caring way. And it was like, it was that light bulb moment of, wow, like I put myself through that and it's equated to all this beautiful goodness. Even though I'm still struggling, it became something good. So I was like, immediately afterwards, I was like, what can I do that's bigger and better than this? Because I was hooked at that point.
And what was the next big thing?
The next big thing was running from John O'Groats to Land's End, which is the most northeast part of the UK up in Scotland, to the most southwest.
It's incredible.
Yeah, I turned it up quite quickly.
How
that was it was 8 months afterwards. It was on what would have been her 54th birthday, August 18th. Well, again, I was trying to get out of a date that was going to be tough for me. And yeah, it was a hell of a ride.
We'll get into that run, because that's also something that there's a lot of detail around that I want to get into.
Yeah.
But one of the reasons why I am so happy to obviously meet you and have this conversation with you, and just like many other people, I relate to you on the loss level. I lost my father when I was 18.
I'm sorry to hear that.
It's part of life. And it's interesting that you said, I just felt like running, because when I was 18, I was living in Tokyo. I was working on an internship in Tokyo at the time. And the night before, my mother called me, told me about the passing. And then the day after, what did I do? I ran 16K. Just because I wasn't fit, I wasn't running. I just felt like it was the most natural thing to do. And it says something about running. It says something about it being an escape. It says something about, us as humans chasing that obviously not running away, but kind of that pain and
it's like running with it.
Yeah, running with it, right? So that anecdote of of myself running 16K the day after, just because I felt like it, is part of how I relate to, you know, your coping mechanism. So it's interesting. Then you obviously took it to a degree which I've never reached. I've run 3 marathons, running my 4th in 2 weeks, but it's really impressive how you continued with it, you know, and it's inspiring, honestly. So
Thank you.
no, really, it's phenomenal. So now I want to talk about that incredible feat of running from Scotland to Land's End. What was the organization like behind something like that? First of all, how many kilometers is that?
It is. Wait, I haven't thought about this in a while. It's 875 miles, which I think is 1,300 kilometers.
And how long did it take you to do that?
It took me probably 16 days. It was an average of 55 miles a day. Being relatively new to the sport.
Did you do 55 miles a day with being physically trained, or did you do that with your head?
It was an expression of my pain.
Mm-hmm.
That's what got me through.
Mm-hmm.
I destroyed myself, or not totally, which is why I needed what I was seeking, what I needed to do. It was interesting. Like going that hard that quickly is a characteristic trait I have. Ignorance is bliss. I'm pretty naive, but I also think that is actually key to me having achieved what I've done, because I won't do too much research into things. I won't read the to-do list, the how-to guide, the ultra running for dummies book. I went into it super naive, and once I was in that space, the only way to get out was to finish. So it's like I forced myself. It was pure will.
I think that the common denominator for a lot of successful people is that ignorance is bliss, right? I mean, it's going into it naively, obviously expecting a lot, but also expecting yourself to give a lot. So the ignorance is bliss component is part of the winning component. It's part of the winning, you know, formula, I think, for something like that, especially given your lack of experience at the time and lack of training also. I mean, it's phenomenal.
Yes, it's necessary.
Yeah.
Because also the more you learn about something, it's almost like the more stumbling blocks, or like the more blockers.
I have to do this, I have to do that.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, wait, I haven't hit that bit yet, so I definitely can't move to that bit. Whereas if you just go into it free and, you know, take it as it comes, it gives you space to maybe achieve sooner than you would have done otherwise.
Of course. How was the logistical? Was it a logistical nightmare to organize that run?
It was, and it was. It was. I actually got the route from the woman that had the record as the fastest female before, Karen Gates, I believe her name was. So that was helpful to have her. But along the way of finishing that first marathon and 8 months later starting the John O'Groats to Land's End run, I'd come across this guy called Robbie Ballinger, who's been a very key person in my life since and continues to be. But I was in LA at the time. I was still dating this girl, so I was very much like back and forth. I wasn't playing rugby anymore, so a lot of what I was doing also and trying to deal with my mum's passing was running away from stuff or not being where we were growing up, because the family home for me was 50% of the time felt amazing because I could feel her energy and feel her close, and it was like she was still around, and then 50% of it was torment because it was like she's like a prison. It's like she's not here. This is everything you're looking around is her.
Reminds me of her.
Exactly. So I was going to this cryotherapy place. I'd announced that I was doing the UK run, and the manager was like, "You should follow this guy Robbie. He's running across the US." I was like, "Holy shit!" Like I didn't know anyone that did ultra running.
Yeah.
I obviously started reading books like Rich Roll, Dean Karnazes. Found out who what's his name?
Oh, David Goggins.
Goggins.
Okay.
So totally blanked. Sorry, David. So I'd found all these people, but I didn't know anyone that I could, I don't know, get close to. So he was running across the US, which was 3 times what I was about to do. And I found him on social media, and this is one beautiful part about social media. There's some terrible points, but there's also some beautiful things. So I found him and watched him. I think it was from day 7 to day 75. I was obsessed. because I suddenly had somewhat like a formula or something to look at that was similar to what I was doing. So I followed him every day, watched what he was doing, sent a few messages across the way, and then when he finished, I waited like a week because I was like, everyone's going to be messaging. I was like, so I briefly explained my story and told him what I was about to do. And long story short, he decided after I met him in July, he was like, I'm going to come and help you do yours.
Wow.
Which was insane.
Wow.
Because I was really not good at the time at accepting help. I had to do everything myself. It's still within me, but now I understand that you really need help.
You need other people to succeed.
You need other people.
Yeah.
So he came on board, and the level of professionalism he brought, even at the time, and we've got so much better, but what he brought was insane. And for me, whenever things were happening on the UK run, whatever he said to me was gospel. Like I had friends and family helping, and it's like whatever they said would just like rebound off of my brain.
Sure.
Because
But when he would say something,
he for me, he understood, he lived it, he did it, and whenever he said something, it became of weight. And he could tell me the same thing as someone else, but I would listen to him and try and action it. So the logistics, that we had the route, but it's like a puzzle that's ever changing on the route. So as in directionally, it was pretty straightforward. There was one point where we were trying to get off of this busy A road, because a lot of it you're on dual carriageways, and the UK narrow roads like Italy. It's not like the US where it's super vast, or Australia super vast. So it's all quite tight, and you've got like lorries, big vehicles blasting past you, sirens, horns, and it's very overwhelming to be on a road like that for 60 hours.
I can imagine.
Sensory overload. So there's one point that we decided we might have found a shortcut or a bit across some trail that would mean I got some respite from this
The honking and
everything, and just I was in a bad place anyway. And we went through this field, and there were lots of sheep and stuff everywhere. And then we got to a body of water, and it was like, no, we think you can get to the other side and carry on. I rolled my ankle twice, like I ruptured the ligament. I found out afterwards.
So how long into the run was that?
That was what day was that? I think it was day 4.
Oh my God.
It was day 4, yeah. So yeah, my world was caving in at that point. And
so you were roughly, what, 200 miles into the run?
Yeah, probably. I was 55 a day. I think I started pretty well, and then a few days in I had my worst day. I think I did 33 miles was the worst. Which is still quite far, but also in the grand scheme of things,
more than a marathon. I mean,
the grand scheme of things, it was, considering I was out there for 16, 17 hours, it wasn't good.
Were you strict on saying, I need to have this mileage every day, I need to finish in this amount of time? Were you looking for a record, or were you just going?
No, so the record at the time, and it still is, I think it's like 9 days and 2 hours. As it was my first thing, I was like, I think I can do it in 2 weeks. So initially it was 14 days, which I think was 60 miles a day. But we found out quite quickly after that was
not feasible.
Probably not going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Incredible. So who was on your team when you did that run?
So I had Robbie.
Mm-hmm.
Then I had a very good friend of mine, the guy that had the Rolls Royce contract.
Okay.
Ironically. Okay. Josh Warner. And he was great because he's all about like logistics in his world, and having professionalism, and that was really good. So they were the two people there the whole time. And then I had a guy videoing, and then my dad and brother came out at different points. I had family friends swap in and swap out. I had all my closest friends came up at one point. So there was a core crew of like 3 people, and then there'd always be an extra 2 that would interchange.
Were you big on social media at this point?
No, probably, I don't know, because back in the day when I was modeling and doing that stuff, that was like the first, I guess, increase. I probably had, I don't know, 20,000-30,000 followers at that.
Okay, you had a base of
I had a base, but like I say, at that point it wasn't really a thing.
It would, yeah, of course.
It wasn't a thing. It was pre-COVID. I think COVID was the big shift in when running became
on social media
popularized, and on social media. So it was way before then, but yeah, we had some people following us.
And then shortly or not shortly after that, you did another incredible feat, which was running 48 marathons
30 days
in 30 days.
Yeah, so
how does that come about?
that came about. It was actually just after COVID, but I took like the year after running John O'Groats to Land's End. I then like took the next year off. I think I might have done Marathon des Sables in that point. But I did like one big ultra race, but I didn't have anything in my mind at that point of what to do. And then I had this dream of like running a marathon in every country in Europe. I was like, that would be a really cool thing to do. And then COVID happened. And I was like, well, that's definitely not happening anymore. I just Googled like how many counties there are in England. And there's 48. No one knows that. It's not like the US. We don't have 48 stars on our flag. So yeah, that just became like the next natural step. One marathon in every county of England. And then I finished at the London Marathon, which was a really fun place to run.
You finished off with the London Marathon. What a great finish.
And I PB'd with the 3:06.
That's insane. At the end of this run.
Yeah. You learn so much about the human body and what it's capable when you do this shit.
How important is recovery?
It's very important, yeah. Even along the way. Along the way, you have to figure out certain techniques, but there's only so much you can do. And the main thing you can do is lay down, be horizontal, and sleep.
If you're PBing at the end of a run like that,
yeah,
I mean, that tells everyone around you, and especially yourself, that you have so much more in the tank.
It throws out every rule or conception about training. I mean, I would never say do this to PB your marathon. Like, no way. But
don't run 47 marathons before you're 48 to be.
But there's something about just that build up and running that much and it becoming somewhat normalized, that when I had at the end of this massive challenge I did, I think it was 1,250 miles total. So it was a big one, and that for me was an expression of like, I don't want to just go and enjoy this thing. I know I'd enjoy it anyway, but I was like, I've come this far and everything's gone well. What can I push now? So it was like it wasn't like a victory lap for me. It was like I want to push as hard as I could, and I did. And yeah, I was somewhat shocked that I managed to get that time.
You obviously have to feel pain when you do these challenges. I mean, there's no way that you do these. I mean, why am I saying that? Let me give some context, because you run and the way you express yourself seems flawless. It seems like you're doing this casually. I mean, it's something about your energy that you're smiling, you're doing this. Obviously, you do post, your runs, and you do see those moments of intensity and pain, but for the most part, you look seamless. How true is that? I mean, how do you? What's your go-to when you just go back to your why when you deal with pain? I mean,
a lot of it's that I like to internalize a lot, and also it doesn't serve me to be negative. It doesn't make me feel good. It doesn't push me on. So for me, it's kind of a waste of time. I hate like the bitchy, moany attitude about things, complaining, oh, it's raining outside. Like, get over it. Like, worse things have happened. Obviously, the whole thing of seeing my mum battle cancer and fight for her life, I have an ignorance to my own suffering. I've also chosen to be in that scenario. I'm also, a lot of the time, raising money for charity. So I owe my own physical ability. I owe this challenge the respect that it deserves. And to just be there like complaining about it is not gonna help me.
That also helps when you have your why is other people.
Yeah,
you're held accountable, and it's not just for yourself, but you have to do things for others. And I think that's a huge component to keep going.
Yeah,
it's like, I don't have a choice. I'm doing it for other people, and they're counting on me, and that's definitely a huge component to, I'm going to deal with this pain.
I like having fun too.
Yeah,
like you can find fun moments in basically anything. I'm there with like a crew of people, a lot of who are very close to me, and like you're just chatting shit, like having a good time. But yeah, like
you do. So you do bring a crew of people with you that let you have fun.
But also they're really good at being the people I can then express negativity to as well.
And they suck it in.
They suck it in because they know they have to. It's almost part of the job, but they also know I don't mean it. I always speak to the crew before I do anything, and I'll be like, at some points I'm going to be an asshole, and I
Pre-run.
I just want to let you know that I would always apologize afterwards, because I do. But at some point, I'm going to need to get something out of me and complain about something.
I'm sorry, but give me an example of something that comes to mind.
So it's just like on Australia, it would be like the crew was supposed to be at a certain point and they might have gone maybe 500 meters further, which in the grand scheme of things isn't a huge amount. But also as the athlete, when you're expecting to see them at a certain point, that becomes, for some reason, incredibly frustrating. So be pretty rampant and be like, fuck, you're not here. I can see a perfect space for you to pull over, etc., etc. And then I get in and they'll acknowledge it, and then immediately afterwards I'll apologize, because everyone's there to give their all to me. We have a goal. Everyone has a goal, and it's to get me to that certain point. And everyone is so selfless in that. Like every part of their energy is given to me. So I know why they're there and what they're doing, and I owe them so much thanks and love for that. So yeah, sometimes you just need to get it out.
Also, you're irritable. I mean, you're tired.
Very.
You're tired. It's hot. I mean, you have every reason to be irritable. So
yeah, things hurt.
Yeah, things hurt, even though they don't seem like they do. I mean, I get it. And now also moving on to another feat of yours that is incredible, and what you did was the transcontinental US run. How did that even come about? How much time after your 48 marathons?
That was 2 years later. I seem to do something, I call it something stupid every 2 years.
Okay.
So yeah, that was 2 years after 48:30. So it was 2023. Yeah, 2 years ago. Obviously watching Robbie having done that before was probably key in me doing it. Also, when I finished John O'Groats to Land's End, they have this signpost. It's quite similar in many different places where they'll have distances to like major cities in the world. And one of them was to New York. And very ironically, it's super, super close to the distance of running across the US. It's pretty much exact. I can't remember what the sign says, but my run across the US was 3,076 miles, which is about 5,000 kilometers. And it's pretty close to that. So in that moment, I felt like one day I would do it, and 4 years later I decided that.
So it was that signpost that gave you the inspiration to do that run?
Yeah, and just watching Robbie do it.
Of course.
Because, yeah, I'd seen that it was possible.
You started in San Francisco.
Started in LA.
In LA.
The traditional route is you can make it shorter by starting in San Francisco, because Robbie was with me there the whole time. We used his route, and I've had a lot of history in LA anyway. So
how do you prepare for something like that?
You really, it's tough. There's no like actual training plan for it. Like we spoke at the beginning, a lot of it's built up over years of like foundationally building to be able to, your body getting used to doing that kind of distance and for long periods of time. But for me, like the one before was a month, and I was setting out originally to do it in 64 days. That was my goal target. So yeah, like I say, 3,076 miles. The biggest one before that was 1,275. It's a huge step up. And I was also trying to do basically more on average a day, because 48:30, I was either doing 2 marathons a day or 1. That's how we split it up. It was never like 2.5 or 1 and a bit. It was
2 or 1.
2 or 1. Exactly. So yeah, it was a big feat, and there was a lot riding on it, because maybe put all my eggs into that basket. Like it was so big, and there's so much that can go wrong on anything. Even running a marathon, there's a lot that can go wrong. So try spreading that out over, I can't remember how many marathons it works out to. It's like 92 or something in a row.
Insane. It's also like, I can imagine the logistical side to it must have been pretty hefty.
The good thing, again, we have the route. Robbie had done it before, and his team had got like super specific on it. So when you do these routes, you have to work out where hospitals are, where gas stations are, where you can get food, and to get more linear than that, when are we going to run out of food, etc., etc. You can go as deep as you want, but things are always going to change along the way. You could have the most perfect plan of all time.
Something's going to happen.
You're going to have to throw out the window at some point. But fortunately, the US is there's people and things the whole way across. Like you start off in LA or in California, and then you're immediately running through the Mojave Desert. So there's not huge amounts there, but there's enough to get you by, which is totally the opposite to Australia.
Oh, really?
It's really fuck all. But the US, it was like you could resupply at different points.
Sure.
We'd try and find ways that were slightly quicker to how Robbie did it the time before.
What was the record at this point?
The record is still 42 days. Pete Kostelnick, is it 42?
42 days. You didn't think that it was feasible to go for that?
No, he was running like 72 miles a day or something ridiculous. Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, I was going for the British record, and I got some stick for that, which makes sense. But it was like basically for me,
What kind of stick?
because becoming the fastest British person to run across the country, I will liken it to, imagine if you're from the Vatican or you're from a very small country from somewhere. You can be the fastest at doing basically anything anywhere.
Well, the UK is not the Vatican.
No, it's not.
It's
But for me, it was like, it's marketing, right? It's to try and get people interested, try and turn people on. We're trying to raise money. We're trying to get sponsors to help us pay to do the thing. So, yeah, this was like I had a goal. I think he did it in 65 days or whatever it was, the British guy. And so it gave me like, okay, this is how far I need to run every day to beat this record and become the fastest British person. But the only thing that matters is who is the fastest ever, and it's Pete Kostelnick.
well,
But that rubbed one particular person and some people up the wrong way.
There's another component to the fact that I can say that you are the fastest British person to run across the US, but during the run you got some pretty important nuisance and people that didn't want you to accomplish that goal or were dubious of you doing it.
Yeah.
How, well, first of all, can you just elaborate on that quickly? What was going on?
Yeah, so when I initially announced the challenge, I did something on Instagram. I said, I'm going to become the fastest Brit to run across the US. Something in that terminology. And then this guy DM'd me. I think he even emailed me and like my agent or manager at the time. This really long message basically saying that looking at my history of running, there's no way I could achieve this. Maybe you should set out to do it in more like 75 days. I've looked at your stats across the board, and this would be like more where you're at athletically. So I'm quite abrasive. I'm just like, I see this message, I'm like, fuck you, basically. I just ignored it, and then it became more and more. I got more and more messages across before even starting, and then when we did start, my team were getting messaged. Anyone that was coming in and helping me, they were messaging the sponsors, etc. So yeah, it became part of the story. And also, it's not like you can't expect everyone to believe in what you're doing, but
100%.
But to say that you can't do something,
It's interesting.
based off of this, that, or the other,
Yeah.
I find it ridiculous. And yeah, it kind of culminated in that period at the guy coming out.
I saw the clips and I watched the content of him and how while you were running, it looked like it was in the desert at this point. No,
We'd just got into Oklahoma.
okay, you were in Oklahoma.
Yeah, there's nothing in Oklahoma, by the way.
So in a barren area of Oklahoma, this British man,
Yeah.
just running up and down beside you and your team.
Yeah, he had a stopwatch.
What was that about? I mean, what was he trying to?
Well, he was basically, there'd been some like blog posts. I can't remember what they're on. I've never actually read them. I'm sure it'd be entertaining at some point. You can go and find them if you want to. But there was like, he'd started a blog, and then other people had got involved. We had a tracker, but it was in the support vehicle at the time. For us, the tracker was just like for entertainment purposes only. It's quite a new thing. I wasn't going for an official record. So I didn't know that people would be annoyed that I didn't have a tracker on me at all times. So I understand it. Like, again, like the ignorance is bliss, kind of naive. Like people thought, a very small portion of people thought I should have this tracker because my watch wasn't enough. So yeah, these blog posts were going out. Obviously I was with Robbie and a very good friend of mine, Peter John. They can both run. So they were saying like we were watch jockeying, like I'd take my watch off and I'd give it to one of them and I'd like sleep in the van or whatever. So yeah, there were some pretty outrageous, what do you call it? Like stories about what we were doing and how we were doing it. And
How do you filter that out? Because when you're running, it's so easy to say, what if there's also, and you can't deny, there's also a pride component to doing these things, right?
Yeah.
Slightly, right? I mean,
of course,
some form of
proving it to myself.
yeah, proving to yourself, and then also the recognition that you get after this it's endearing. When you had this guy running beside you and making these blog posts, how did you filter that out? How were you able to say, I'm not paying any attention to this?
Well, at the beginning, it was because I know I'm doing it and I'm taking every step. Like it didn't bother me, but it started to bother other people around me, which made it tough because the crew's also like, oh, people are saying that it's bullshit. Like, do we need to release like an official statement or whatever? So then it becomes a stress for me because they're all being questioned. I'm being questioned. And then the way that it went in my head was, it's like the reason I do this stuff is because of that catalyst event of losing my mum. And this is my expression of how I've dealt with it and how I've made it something that's positive and can impact other people. Like you say yourself, like losing your father and then going for the run and you seeing something in me that you can see within yourself. So that being questioned really started to piss me off. And also because it's so attached to my mum, it's like, he's basically saying I'm using my mum's death to either increase my career, earn money, or anything else.
So I can't imagine the anger that could have.
Yeah, there was quite a lot of anger in me about that. Because at the start I was like really blasé. I'm like, well, I'm doing it, so I don't really care. Like, who the fuck is this?
Yeah.
But then he came out, and the first thing I said to him, it was like there was quite a lot of built up tension because it'd been going on for a few weeks, maybe more. I was like, look, if you're here and you see me take every step, are you then going to go back on what you've said about me? And he didn't even answer it. And I'm like, well, what's the fucking point then? You're going to be here for 4 days, 5 days, a week, 2 weeks. You're going to see me do every single step.
He must have been friends with the guy that broke the record.
Yeah, so he used to be at the same run club. And the gentleman had actually passed away, I think it was a few years before. But yeah, he's a very running traditionalist.
Sure.
And I also have empathy with him and the old way things used to be, especially in running. It's so underfunded.
Mm-hmm.
There are so many more talented people than I am, especially around like the traditional ways of running, 400 meters, athletics, 1K marathon. And there's hardly any fun in there. Brands aren't that interested in it because now there's this new thing called social media where personalities, people that aren't as good as these actual professionals
are getting more attention.
They're getting the finances from it, etc. So I totally understand why that would frustrate people.
But Will, the truth is also you don't represent, like you're not.
No, I don't.
You're not the classic runner. You're not the classic ultra runner.
No.
And that's probably also what pissed them off.
Yeah, and I'm also okay with who I am and how I do things.
Yeah.
And I'm also competitive in a way of like I want to achieve great things and I want to push the boundaries as much as possible. So I'm not going to change, but I can understand why you'd say that kind of stuff. So yeah, anyway, he stayed for, I think it was like 4 or 5 days, saw me take every step and then left and then got back on the blogs being like, basically saying that when he was there, I was actually doing what I was doing and you can see from his heart rate at this point or that. And then he got back and went, oh, he's now cheating again. I'm just like, bro.
Whatever.
So you can't win.
Yeah.
It's part and parcel of it. In the grand scheme of things, it's got more attention on what I've been doing, so may have inadvertently helped.
All marketing is
exactly. So it is what it is.
Yeah.
And I guess when you're doing things that big, there has to be a certain level of.
You should expect.
You can't
it.
please everyone.
Yeah.
So it is what it is.
During these challenges, for example, like transcontinental, and obviously we'll get into Australia as well. I want to touch on the pain factor for a second. Does pain at this point become more a piece of information for you rather than fearing it? Is it just does pain just become informational at this point?
Yeah, you become more numb to it, or you can deal with it more the more you go through. And physical pain for me is nowhere near as bad as emotional torment. So when I first started running, it was my version of acceptable self-harm. I'm going out and doing a physical activity. I'm not like actually hurting myself, but I am. So the thing for me in like physical pain in those moments, partly having done it so much or just being out there for a month with like your ankle hurting, there's a disassociation, like your brain has to do something to figure things out and how to deal with stuff. So it's always there, but you can become a bit more numb to it by living through it so much. So it's interesting because in like normal life now, if something hurts, I'll notice it more, I would say,
Then during.
than when I'm doing these big things.
Yeah.
There's such a psychological difference to what you're doing, and you have like this grand plan, and you have to achieve it. The only way to get out is to finish. So it's different, and you figure out ways to nullify it or change things to, you know, deal with it a bit better.
And then you finish this run in the US, in New York, in Central Park.
Yeah, that was cool.
How cool is that?
Yeah, really cool. Because
That's
just go, for the most part, you're out like in the middle of nowhere and you're on your own, which is why I love running, because it's a big disconnect from the fast pace of life being attainable at any point through redefining, etc. So it was sensory overload, and because you put in so much for such a long period of time, it's like a huge release. It's that high at the end of like even when you finish a marathon. If you could bottle up that feeling and sell it, you'd be a very very rich person.
That's a great way of putting it, actually.
Yeah, but when you do a marathon, like I'll still get that when I do a marathon, but on that scale, it's incredible. And the way I look at it and why I keep going back and keep trying to do it is because that moment there, and even moments along the way of like things being terrible, things being really hard, the only way you can feel the way I'm feeling at the end of one of those things is by having done all of that terrible, hard stuff for the month or whatever it is before. Doesn't matter how intelligent you are, doesn't matter how much money you have in the bank, doesn't matter your degrees, doesn't matter your family. None of these things that usually like organized society and your place in it matter. It's just come from a place of sheer hard work, determination, and gritting your teeth through it. And
There's no better feeling.
There is literally no better.
There is no better feeling.
So yeah, it's like, because I keep going back, it's like chasing that first high.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I want to feel that feeling again, and I know how hard it is, but I still want it.
You know it's there.
It's always going to be there.
It's always going to be there.
And it's like I say, it's subjective. Like when people do their first marathon, they have this like crazy feeling, and like I say, it's insane. And
I was in tears in my first marathon. I was just like, not even from the pain. It wasn't the pain that brought me to tear up. It was just an emotion that you don't find in your daily life.
Yeah.
And I think that, again, you take it to a degree where most people can only dream of getting to, but even marathons, which are much more accessible to everyone, that pain that you feel and that push that you have to have, it's not a feeling that you have in your everyday life. So
it's really hard.
That's what makes it even more valuable.
It's really hard. It's really hard to attain.
Yeah. And you can only get it through, events like this or similar.
Yeah.
So that's what really, really makes it so special. And you just finished Australia. Yeah. Now we have to get into Australia. Because I want to compare US and I want to compare Australia.
Yeah.
What was the biggest difference? Let's start high level. What was the biggest difference between the US and Australia?
It was the intensity of each day. So the US was 5,000 kilometers or 3,000, just over 3,000 miles. Australia is less, so it was 2,800. Wait, I need to get my things right. I always forget this. So many numbers,
thousands of miles. I mean, it's like
there's so many numbers and breaking it down, but yeah, I think it was 600 or 700 miles less than the US. So yeah, I think it was 2,400 miles. So less, but on the US, I averaged, similar to John O'Groats Land's End, I averaged 55 miles a day every day for 55 days. Whereas on this one, I was shooting for the actual record. The record at the time was 39 days. And in my experience and everything I'd done, I can't say that I'm going to try and beat something by an hour or a day. I need to dissect it and be like, what do I think I can actually do? I need to shoot for that one, because otherwise it leaves space for, at the end of the day, if I was running 50 miles, I'd be like, okay, I can stop here, rather than, no, I need to keep pushing and go as far as I can to actually get to my end point. So yeah, I set a pretty audacious task of doing it in 35 days, which works out as, I think it's like 107 to 110K a day.
Which in miles is roughly what, 60,
67.
Okay. So wait a minute. When we were talking about the US record, sure, the distance is longer in the US.
Yeah.
But when you said the record holder did 70 odd miles a day, it's not that far off towards
Not that
to what we're talking about.
Not that far off. So I maybe have gone up in levels, my thinking before doing the US, but it's all part of it. So
Yeah. So you in Australia, did you run? You ran along the coast. You went down.
it was basically, it's kind of basically straight across.
Okay.
There's a few little bits where you have to go around, but yeah, I started in Western Australia in Perth, and then ran across to Bondi Beach in Sydney.
What led you to go to Australia? Because there's so many other countries that you could have said, I want to run across
Yeah.
Italy. Like
There was a few reasons. When I was, the first trip we went on as a family outside of Europe, basically outside of France or Spain, was Australia. My dad used to live there. He moved there, I think, when he was 20. He was playing football out there, and he was a carpenter. So he'd always tell us stories about Australia, and had this he really loved the country, the way
you're fascinated.
the way it was. So I was always fascinated by it, watching like Steve Irwin growing up, watching Bondi Rescue.
Of course.
So we went when I was 11. We did like this trip. We went to Singapore first, which was like a crazy
Mind-blowing experience. Yeah.
of being in Asia for the first time. And then, like I say, we went around Australia and New Zealand. And then went again when I was 14, and I decided I wasn't going to go to university. I wanted to go traveling. So I went to Thailand, and then I spent 6 months in Australia. So I've always loved the country. I love the people. They're quite similar to the English, like good crowd, good family.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always like idolized it as a kid growing up. I wanted to move there. I wanted to be a surf kid. I wanted to be out.
That's how you envision your.
That's what I wanted to
it.
do.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was always like, Mum, Dad, let's go. My dad wanted to go, but he was too old to get us in. So it was all lent on my mum being the nurse. Anyway, it didn't happen, but yeah, I've been to Australia 5 or 6 times now. So it's somewhere that I love. And when I like somewhere, I want to explore it. And my version of exploring it is generally by foot. So when I looked at it, I'd seen the record. I'd seen Ned Brockman, who's a friend of mine, go for it early in his running career, actually. So I looked at it and was like, at the time before he did it, I think it was 42 days, and then it got beaten and was 39. I looked at it, I was like, after doing Australia, I was like, I think I can beat that.
After the US.
After the US, sorry. I was like, I think I can beat that. So yeah, that's the reason why we chose there.
Was it, what was the factor that made it more difficult or not compared to, was the climate?
See, it was the intensity of each day. The climate was okay because we started in what was just heading into their winter.
Okay.
But not too early, so it does get terrible. But it's relatively flat. It's crazy how flat it is in comparison to the US. The US is very mountainous at times. There's no way of really getting around it flat. But Australia is incredibly flat. So in comparison, I did Moab in the October before. So it was about 8-9 months before I started. That had 30,000 feet of gain over 140 miles. Big loop in Utah, crazy race. It's blown up this year.
Yeah.
On socials.
Yeah, this year, everyone is talking about Moab.
It's really cool. I'm glad it has, because it's otherwise.
Is it deserving?
It is. It's an incredible race. Incredible race. That has 30,000 feet of gain across the whole 240 miles. Australia has 32,000 feet of gain
Across.
from Perth to Sydney. Obviously, you're missing out some of the mountains, but yeah, it's insane. It's insane how flat it is, which is maybe adds to it, maybe makes it easier, but yeah.
Still incredible. And so, obviously you had sponsors for this run. Who was your biggest sponsor for Australia?
Biggest sponsor for Australia was.
Do you work with one brand more than another?
Well, all
drones?
the brands I work with on a yearly deal came in and helped as well. So there's 247 Represent, there's Vuori, Cadence.
Do you have your own brand?
I have my own sunglasses coming out. So
Okay, nice. Very nice.
ready at the end of this month, actually.
Have you ever thought about maybe getting into apparel or
Maybe eventually.
Okay.
I mean, I love fashion. I love running clothes.
That's why I'm asking. There's a synergy between the two.
Eventually, but for me, sunglasses are just, I wear them for everything. And I wanted to create something that kind of sat between like sports and fashion because the connections have never been stronger, I don't think. So how do I design and get a product that you can run in, then you can also wear if you're going to like a nice lunch or wear out around town in Paris when you're walking around.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's going to be my niche.
You know, we keep moving on to from subject to subject, but it's why? It's because you speak about these achievements as if they're, you know, they're normal to you.
Because I've lived them, and I don't think I'm inherently special.
Which is beautiful, which is admirable. But you know, people, it's not normal. It's not. It's simply not. You know, and I think everyone wants to know what's the secret. What's the secret? Like people think that there's a secret to it, and if
there's no secret, there's no secret sauce. People want a step-by-step guide to how to be able to do something like this. But I've been doing it for like 7-8 years. Before that, I was just
but it's not a long time.
It's not long, but I believe for me, emotion is energy, right? Emotion can be good, it can be bad, but it can be pushed towards anything. And if you can control that middle bit of what you're pushing it towards, what you can achieve is totally open. You can do anything. It doesn't have to be in the physical realm. It can be business, it can be art, it can be anything. But I feel like through going through what I've been through, I have learned how powerful emotion can be, especially heightened emotion of sadness, anger, but then also love. Each side of the spectrum, I liken it to being a kid. Like we're talking about the whole play thing. When you're a kid, you haven't had the world control you, put you into a box, or show you how things should be. So you act very freely. You're very open. You act naturally. So when you're a kid, like when you got told off or were in trouble or didn't get your way, like I remember get sent to your room, you'd storm up there, you'd be so angry, you'd start like leathering into the pillow, like you're so angry. But that's emotion, and there is the energy outsource, which is you being frustrated or being really tense and upset. Likewise, when you got the Christmas present or
an emotion of joy, and you can't sit still, you're racing around, like it's palpable, and I can feel it now when I'm talking about it. But again, there's a physical output to that. So in being an adult and the amount of shit we all have to go through, everyone goes through it every day of our lives. At some point, something won't go away. But how can you channel that into something positive? And in the ultra running space, it's a very simple act. It's the act of putting your feet one step in front of the other. And it's a clear path to push these things towards. So yeah, for me, just there's no secret sauce, but I've lived it and I've done it, and it's been through turmoil basically that I've been able to get out of it. But then also like the love side of things and seeing how much it impacts like people around me, my friends, my family, etc. So I have like a clear path and a goal, and it's a positive cycle. Of course. Are you scared of being labeled as an ultra runner, or are you scared of being labeled as one thing?
No, I don't really pay too much attention to what I might be labeled as. I know there's a whole spectrum of different things because I do a whole bunch of different things, but yeah, that's for other people to judge, and I'm okay with that as long as like you know what's within you and how you feel about yourself. And the people you care about.
Mostly, right?
People that actually know you, what they think about you, that'd be important.
I'm asking because you do so many things. And also you said before when you prepare for a race for a run and a feat like Australia or US, you don't really know how to prepare. Do you ever feel like under preparation is your go-to? Do you ever under prepare for maybe a reason that you haven't explored yet?
It was before. I would say before Australia was the most locked in I've been on something.
Oh.
I was in Cape Town for 6 months, and it was like my training camp.
Oh wow.
Because I knew I had to ramp it up to a place that I hadn't done before. Like we said, I was averaging, in the end, it averaged out as 111 kilometers a day. My worst day was 108, and my best was 120. So it's a mad amount of miles, but also to make people understand how slow I'm going. It's like a 10-minute K.
It's a 10-minute K.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's pretty slow.
I mean,
But it's consistent. It's like the fable of the turtle and the hare. I'm the turtle.
life is a marathon.
It's not, it's the longest one.
It's a very long marathon.
Yeah.
And then now obviously you're in a phase where you're disconnecting from that,
Yeah, you can't do that all the time. And like I say, I need to give myself, my body, and my mind a rest, and then get ready to pick it up again.
hence why we're in Ischia, partly, and you're going back to London after this probably, right?
Yeah, well, I actually go to Vegas with the F1.
Vegas. I forgot.
Yeah, that should be fun.
Vegas is not a bad time. It's not a bad place to be. Going back to that balancing act.
Yeah.
What's your way and your habit of just completely trying to enjoy life without being so rigid on yourself?
I think it's, as I said before, it's giving myself grace. It's a thought process I have before doing it. There's no exacting standards to what that disconnect is, but it's just an overriding amount of freedom I give myself for a certain period of time. So it can come in different forms. Like I have no training structure now, which is nice. I train when I want to and when I feel like it, and I still will go.
You still run?
Yeah, I'll still go and run out of here a couple of times a week. Sometimes I'll take a week where I won't run at all. But I've relinquished that pressure of you should be doing stuff all the time.
You've also created a base level fitness that even if you don't run for a week, I mean,
Yeah.
it's gonna have a minimal impact on
Yeah, it does. And it's just like fine tuning it. It's fine tuning it up. So you can't be on all the time. Otherwise you'll just burn out. So yeah, I have this basic level of fitness, and every time I do something big, it will step up again. And then it's about when I need to plug in and tune it on, I can. And then I also really enjoy getting back into that. I enjoy like having something to do in some big grand plan.
That's also a challenge in itself, right? I mean, taking that time off and then going back into it, and then
Yeah, you have to start slow again.
yeah. Anything big coming up soon?
Next year I'm gonna do Badwater.
Okay.
I need to apply for it. So that would be a good one. 135 miles in Death Valley. And then
What's the challenge there other than the distance?
hot. It's one of the hottest races around. Like I've done Marathon des Sables, which is obviously a hot one. It's through the Sahara Desert, and it's a multi-day one.
What's the distance there?
That's 250k. But you split it over, I think, 6 days. Cool race though. You're literally running through the Sahara Desert. But
what's the start and end?
I don't even know. I have no idea.
It's just through the desert.
Yeah, and also the cool thing about that race is the camp changes each night. So you have to carry all of your things with you. Other than water, you have to carry all your food for the whole time, your sleeping bag, etc., anything you need. But they move the camp to the end of each next stage. So yeah, that was a cool one to do. But Badwater's in Death Valley. You actually start below sea level, and then the finish is, I think it's at Mount Whitney, which is might even be 14,000 feet. But you also start, I think, at midnight because it's so hot.
You have to.
Yeah, it's like 40. Well, in Fahrenheit, I think it's like 110, 120. In Celsius, it's like 45.
Are you training in heat for a race like that?
Yeah, you have to. You have to get heat adapted.
You have to get heat adapted.
Yeah, it's just like anything. Like
based on sweat release and
it's like altitude training. Like to get used to altitude, you need to train at altitude. To learn how to deal with the heat, you need to be in the heat.
Crazy. And other than running, are you doing anything else? Any other cool,
Yeah, outside of like launching the sunglasses brand, which has taken up a lot of time, there has been some writing going down about how I feel like I've learned how the human mind works. Yeah, that's about it. It keeps me pretty busy.
But I think that's a book that a lot of people would be interested in reading. It's finding a way to control your mind. I think it takes, first of all, it takes years of experience, and it takes a lot of callousing, and I think it's, as I said, as we said before, there's all these inspirational reels that you'll find on Instagram, but that people tend to watch at night in bed and say, okay, tomorrow I'm going to call it a day.
Yeah.
But it's not that easy.
No, that's what mine's all about as well. I believe we all have in our brains three very distinct, clear voices and characters. First one is our body, which is super honest and kind of can get taken away. But it is super honest. This hurts. I feel sick. I'm tired. It's an honest review of what's going on. The second one is the mind. We all have it and it dictates most of us. It is a dictator. It's the strongest voice. It's the loudest voice. It will sometimes use what the body says to make its points clear, to lead us in a certain direction, which is usually the direction of comfort. And then there is the truth, which is a quiet voice, which is always there, but often we don't listen to it or follow it. That is our soul and knows exactly what we need to do. And you can think about it even in the smallest points in the day, like when you wake up, what should I have for breakfast? Should I grab a donut, or should I have something healthy, or should I fast? The easiest outcome is always going to be the loudest because it's going to be a clear one. I'll grab the donut.
Yeah,
that's good.
Instant gratification.
Yeah, the truth knows. The truth always knows. And then when things are tough when you're training, there's always a part of you that's like, I can push more. Whereas there's something that's complaining, your body's going, this hurts, and your mind's going.
But how do you work on that? How do you work on, I can push more? How can you, I'm at mile 18. What do you say to yourself? It's not like, it sounds like I'm asking what the secret is, like we said before, but it's, I don't know, in 2 weeks from now, Cosimo's asking, 2 weeks from now, I'm running a marathon in Florence. It's my 4th one, so I know what the pain feels like.
Yeah.
But what should I say to myself at mile 18 when I don't want to keep going? What would you say to yourself?
Well, I actually go down the Goggins route sometimes.
Which
just like, don't be a bitch, but also it's just like you're weighing up in your head. What do you want more? Do you want the easy outcome, and you're always going to think about how you could have pushed more, or do you want to see what's on the other side of that really challenging barrier that's there? But what's the other side of it if you're achieving that thing that you set out to do? Or what's the other side of going past that pain barrier, that feeling we were talking about at the end of a marathon, of the elation?
Yeah. What's the opportunity cost?
Exactly. So which route do you really want to go down? Because there's one that's very easy, and you're even doing a tough thing, so you always have I just ran a marathon. But that's the mind, that's the ego giving you a way out. Whereas the truth knows exactly what you can give and what you're worth, and the actual 100%. And no one can reach that 100%. I never have either. But the more you tap into it, the closer you're always going to get.
What do they say, that we only use 40% of our brain capacity or something?
Yeah, it's when you think you're done, you're only 40%.
Yeah, that's what they say.
It's insane.
How true is that?
I think it's pretty true, because we don't give ourselves enough credit as human beings for what we can achieve on any spectrum or scale. Because I liken it to, if I put a gun to your head right now and said, go run 100 miles, you probably would. But if I said, go run 100 miles, you'd probably be like, no. And then take it another step further, say it's going to be to someone else, someone you love, like, go do this or that. The amount what your body and mind will do to achieve that, to save someone else, is through the roof. So that's the truth. It's within us. It's like when you hear these crazy stories of like near-death experiences where people get super strength. There's things within
inside us.
There's things within us that only come out when we're in like life or death situations. How can you try and bring some of those assets that we really have into normal life, and even just like races from time to time? It's a really difficult thing to do, but the more you practice it and the closer you get, the easier it becomes. And when I'm in those points of like taking time off, my truth one he'll shrink right back down again and won't be too loud, and the one of comfort will come out. But that's because I need different things at different times.
Does that mean that your idea of success has changed over time?
Yeah, I'd say so. And also it's life is a race against yourself always anyway. We've talked about like comparison is the thief of joy. Like, what do you attain success to? And also success and happiness are the same thing, because success can be, very cosmetic, as we said. It can be the nice things, but where is happiness on that scale? Can you be super successful and not happy? What would you prefer? Like wealth for me is peace of mind and happiness.
That's how you see wealth.
Yeah, and freedom, which sometimes you need wealth to get, but also I know we're in somewhere crazy, but yeah, the freedom of the people on this island here.
Which is what we were saying before we started recording. I mean, it's obviously you don't need, money is not the key.
Burden.
It's a burden.
The things you earn, the more things you can be stressed about.
Absolutely. It's also a freedom.
Yeah.
But there's a simplicity to life which you live out, and I think people appreciate about you, and it's the fact that you bring that element of challenge and to yourself, and that element of self-growth that truly is in my books at least success. Every day trying to become a better version of yourself. That I truly is the fundamentals of and the base of what successful life is, truly. And then things will come to you. At least that's how I'm trying to see things, right? I mean, the better energy you have around you, that's the only way that things will come to you. It's out of your hands. It's out of your control.
Can't control basically anything.
Zero. I mean,
only
you think.
Only your own choice.
Yeah, exactly.
Bring you whatever they bring.
What does enough look like for you?
I think that bar always moves. Yeah, that bar always moves because I'm always attracted to then trying again. Whatever that looks like. There will be a point where I stop doing this for sure. And I think that point might coincide or be around the time of like having kids. Because for me, I want a squad.
Yeah.
I want to be like my parents for me, but it's just like, what do you want to do? How can I get behind it? How can I help? Like, I'd really love to build into other people's lives. And I also see that before that point as like a vehicle of this brand I've started. I'd really like to find like the younger versions of myself. And it doesn't have to necessarily be in running, but I want to find like that next generation and be the person that is invests in them to do great things or try great things. Because that's what makes my like blood boil for the better. I love seeing people like taking on challenges and trying things. And you don't have to achieve it every time, but to have the bravery to try. I really admire that in people.
I think if your kids saw you doing these challenges, it would only do them good. I mean, I don't think you should stifle your kid on the ride. Yeah, I think you should actually take them with you.
Yeah,
I mean, that's having a father figure that does these things in your early stages of life can only be beneficial. I mean, of course, again, I'm not going to hypothetically criticize a small child and his emotional fragility, but building tough emotional skeletons. There's a lot of people with very fragile skeletons in the world that don't know how to take criticism. They take it personally, and they don't see it as a way to grow from it. Yeah. So I think what you could teach your future kids, and I think the younger generation, is to build these tough emotional skeletons, because you know what I mean?
The world is getting softer.
It's getting softer.
And also I think
intensity is malperceived, I feel.
Yeah.
It's
agreed. And I think to take offense to something is your own choice. I'm quite, as you said, pretty like straightforward. So these things that have happened of like people judging me, there's been times where it's got to me. But I understand that your reaction is always how you react to anything is a choice.
Totally.
It's a choice. How did I react to losing my mum? My choice was to try and make it mean something. Use that negative stuff to make something positive. Yeah. If someone blows you off in the street, do you accept that and go back angrily? Like,
you react.
How has it served you? You also have the depth of maybe they're going through something we don't know.
Absolutely.
And so, yeah, I think mental fortitude and being able to brush things off and like standing on your own 2 feet and making your choices based on what's good for you outside of all these external forces that are always happening, especially with social media and so much now. But yeah, there's a lot to be said for taking it on the chin.
And not having a passive approach to life.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's another thing. Sometimes intensity gets malperceived because, you're a try hard or this or that, or, take life easier, enjoy it. But again, what is happiness? Happiness can varies by, every person. So maybe, intensity does lead to happiness. It leads to a point of serenity for some people. For others, it doesn't. And as you said, it's about allocating energy. I mean, do I have to react? Am I going to wait? Why do I have to waste my energy? So it's a game of allocating your own energies, and couldn't agree with you more. So, is there a part of you that's still searching for something? I mean, with regard to running, with regard to your personal life, what do you think you're still searching for emotionally?
Emotionally, well, I guess emotionally is having my own family.
Well, that for sure. Now, let's say through these challenges that you do.
Well, the bar always then moves. So I'm obsessed with almost finding out where the limit is, because I've been pretty successful in everything I've done on different levels in terms of like the running world. Things have always kind of improved and got better. So when am I gonna find that tipping point? When's it gonna get to a stage where it's too much? Like I'm interested to see what that point is, and I'm also not scared of it, because I think unless you get to that point, you haven't pushed hard enough. So I really want to know where I'm like, okay, like tapping out.
Will that ever happen though?
I don't know.
Can you tap out? Have you ever tapped out?
Yeah, there was one race after I did the US run. I think it was about maybe 5 months after I tried to do a 100-miler, and I'd really enjoyed my summer and thought I could go do this race at altitude. And I think I got to like 60 miles and
you called it.
Yeah, couldn't breathe.
Really?
Yeah.
It was physical.
Yeah, but also mentally you still have to give it. I could have just laid there for a while and
then kept going.
Yeah, I was pretty messed up, but yeah, that was also a key lesson for me, of being like the naive, just going into things.
Takes preparation.
Willy-nilly, like altitude and distances of that nature is not something you can just jump in on.
Yeah. In general, I think things don't come with luck. I mean, you have to prepare.
Yeah, you do. Always.
Preparation is key. Things don't just fall in your lap.
No.
It's about going out. You have to be ready to take on, to be lucky, but you have to put yourself in that position.
For sure.
Okay, so you have tapped out. So you are human. You are.
Had tapped out.
Okay.
Yeah, I've DNF'd one race.
Interesting. Does it hurt your ego to talk about it or not?
No, as I say, it was a perfect lesson. You learn from things going wrong more than you do things going right. So it was like a key point for me. I'd also been pieing the week of the race.
Okay.
So I like to be like this, like doing different things at different times guy. And that was that one time where it was like, no, you have to, like, if you want to do this well, you have to get serious about it. So it was a lesson learned. A lesson I needed to learn, because otherwise I'm just going to skip through and
try to keep doing everything. And
exactly.
Yeah, of course.
So yeah, it definitely focused me. And I was like, I didn't say I'll never fail. I'll never DNF a race again, because it can always happen. You can always get injured, but I will never fail again because of the reason I did.
Under preparation.
Just thinking, oh, I ran across the US, so 100 miles, whatever. Like it was an arrogant way of looking at things.
I keep touching on this subject, but because I think I'm asking because I want to find the answer. No, but seriously, it's, you lead a life of discipline. You lead a life where you have to be intense. You have to be strict with yourself. How do you get back to your daily life and in your daily relationships and manage that intensity and manage not to give off that approach of almost aggression?
Well, but I would say because I'm different when I'm in the challenge to when I am in normal life. So in the challenge, you have to be like, you can't get through it without being super determined and on it, like to another level.
Yeah.
But that doesn't work well in life outside of that. And also it's kind of like having like two versions of yourself. There's that version that is good for that way of doing things. And then there's like normal life, and I'm not like super intense outside of that. Like,
you're not?
No. I can't, but for me, running is that one part of my life where I get to exercise that and do it to a level and I have to.
And then there's a degree of separation from it.
And then there's the separation part. So I don't feel like I'm defined by that version of myself.
It's interesting. It's not so simple to separate the two, though. I mean, at least for me, and then we're all different, but I find it quite difficult to separate the.
Just turn off.
Yeah. It's interesting that you have that capability. It's something I clearly have to work on. But just to close off and look back, would you say there's a truth that you carry now that you didn't understand at the beginning of your journey at 23 when you lost your mother?
Yeah, for me at that age, I would say I was extremely lost. I had no real past. Like I was playing rugby, but I didn't know what was going to bring me. And I also didn't know what the human being is capable of when forced or chosen. And I mean, making a choice is in like a very deep choice within yourself, not just a normal one. But we can all achieve and do way more than we ever think we could. I gave you that actually horrible example earlier. Like I call it horrible because it's talking about like life or death situations. If you can tap into even a fraction of what we are all capable of and dedicate yourself to something, I say that I am not inherently gifted whatsoever. I got the worst gift of all time, which was my mum passing away. But that gift has pushed me in this direction to achieve what I have done. And as I say, I think I'm an average, I'm just a normal human being from a small town. Didn't know if I was going to ever amount to anything. And through that terrible situation, I've managed to achieve all these things and seen the world and my own physical and mental capabilities in a totally different light. So yeah, I definitely didn't know that before. I had no idea.
And having said that, what do you want your story to say?
My whole thing is emotion is energy. Yeah.
Emotion is energy.
We're all gonna get negative emotions at times, but how can we be like the captain of our own ship and point that ship in a direction that serves us rather than crashing into the rocks at the side, which is the easy way of doing it.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. Are you gonna destroy me on a run after this?
Sure. Let's go.
I think it's still trading. So I think we can get even. I'm not that rain would have been an excuse not to go for a run.
I might have used it.
Will, thank you so much. Honestly, it's been an incredible pleasure to talk to you and get to know you finally instead of over text and my phone call. And it's been great. And I hope we can have many more moments like this.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. I hope so.
Pleasure, brother.
Appreciate it.